The champagne bottle slipped from my hands, shattering across the dock. My husband didn't even turn around. He was too busy kissing her. Right there on his yacht. The same yacht where we'd celebrated our 5th anniversary 3 months ago. But that's not what made me freeze. It was the toddler standing between them. A little girl with Marcus's eyes, calling him daddy. My husband had a whole other family. And I'd just driven 4 hours to surprise him with news that was supposed to change everything. Let me back up. Because the version of me standing on that dock, watching my world implode, would have seemed impossible just 12 hours earlier. Yesterday morning, I woke up in our penthouse overlooking the bay. Marcus had left early for his monthly executive retreat at the coastal marina where he kept his yacht. These trips were sacred to him. 3 days of solitude, fishing, and decompression from running a billion-dollar commercial real estate empire. I'd always respected that boundary. Marriage requires space, right? Trust. Independence. God, I was naive. I sat at our kitchen island, custom Italian marble Marcus had imported specifically for me, and stared at the plastic stick in my hand. 2 pink lines. Pregnant. After 3 years of trying. After 2 miscarriages that had nearly broken us both. After I'd finally accepted that maybe children weren't in our future. And now, this. I called my best friend Sarah immediately. The words tumbled out before she even said hello. I'm pregnant. It's real. The blood test confirmed it yesterday, but I wanted to wait for the home test to be sure, and Sarah, it's positive. Her squeal nearly deafened me. Oh my God. Have you told Marcus? Not yet. He's at the marina for his fishing trip. So call him. I'd thought about it. Of course I had. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the 2 previous losses that made me superstitious. Maybe it was wanting to see his face when I told him. Maybe it was the romantic in me that imagined the perfect moment. I want to tell him in person, I said. I'm going to drive up there and surprise him. Sarah hesitated. Didn't he specifically ask you not to come to these trips? He said he needed alone time. But this is different. This changes everything. If you're sure. I was sure. Or I thought I was. I spent the morning preparing. I packed an overnight bag with the silk dress Marcus loved. I stopped at the bakery and bought his favorite lemon tarts. I picked up a bottle of sparkling cider, the expensive kind, and a tiny pair of baby shoes I'd been hiding in my closet for 2 years, just in case. The 4-hour drive to coastal marina felt like floating. I rehearsed the words. Imagined his reaction. Would he cry? Marcus wasn't a crier, but for this, maybe. Would he laugh? Spin me around? Call his mother immediately? I texted him around noon, hope the fish are biting. Love you. No response, but that was normal. Marcus often went radio silent during these trips. Part of the digital detox, he called it. The marina came into view around 4 in the afternoon. Golden hour, the sun turning everything amber and perfect. Marcus's yacht, the Meridian, was docked at the far end of the private section. Sleek, white, obscenely expensive. He'd bought it 3 years ago, right after his company went public. I parked and grabbed my bag, the baby shoes tucked carefully in my purse. My heart was racing. Good nerves. Excited nerves. The dock stretched out before me, wooden planks weathered by salt and time. I could see the Meridian ahead. Someone was on the deck. Marcus. I smiled, walking faster. He was standing near the railing, his back to me. I was maybe 50 feet away when I saw her. A woman stepped into view. Blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. Wearing one of Marcus's dress shirts and nothing else, it looked like. She wrapped her arms around him from behind, and he turned, kissing her. Not a quick kiss. Not a friendly kiss. The kind of kiss that's muscle memory. I stopped walking. My feet just stopped working. I was close enough to see, but far enough that they hadn't noticed me yet. Then I saw the little girl. She toddled out from the cabin, maybe 3 years old, wearing a pink swimsuit with ruffles. She had Marcus's dark curly hair, his olive skin, his distinctive nose. "Daddy," she called, her voice carrying across the water. Marcus turned, scooped her up, spinning her around. She giggled. The woman smiled at them both with the ease of someone who'd seen this scene 1,000 times. They looked like a family. They were a family. That's when the champagne bottle slipped from my hands. The glass shattered across the dock, sparkling cider exploding in a foam that looked too much like celebration. The sound cut through the late afternoon quiet. Marcus's head snapped toward me. For a moment, we just stared at each other. 50 feet of dock between us. A lifetime of lies. I watched the color drain from his face. Watched him set down the little girl quickly, say something to the blonde woman. She turned to look at me, her hand flying to her mouth. I should have run. Should have screamed. Should have done something. I just stood there, frozen, as my husband started walking toward me. "Claire," he said. "Just my name. Nothing else." I found my voice. It came out strange. Too calm. "Who is she?" "Claire, let me explain." "Who is she?" Marcus stopped about 10 feet away. Close enough that I could see the panic in his eyes. Far enough that he couldn't reach me. "That's Lindsay," he said quietly. "And that's Emma." "Emma." I repeated the name. It sounded foreign. "Your daughter?" "Yes." The admission punched the air from my lungs. "How old?" "She just turned 3. 3 years. 3 years of these monthly trips. 3 years of lies while I was home, waiting, trusting, believing every word." "How long?" My voice cracked. "The affair." "How long?" Marcus ran his hand through his hair, the gesture I'd always found endearing. Now it just looked like what it was. A nervous tell. A liar's tick. "It's not. Claire, it's complicated." "How long?" "Since before we got married." The dock tilted. I grabbed the railing to keep from falling. "What?" "I met Lindsay 6 years ago. We were together for a year before I met you at that charity gala. We'd broken up, but then we reconnected. About 4 years ago." I did the math. 4 years ago. That was right after our first miscarriage. Right when I'd needed him most. "You've been with her this whole time?" I whispered. "While I was losing our babies? While I was going through fertility treatments? While we were trying?" "I never meant for it to happen," Marcus said quickly. "I tried to end it with Lindsay when we got married, but then she got pregnant, and I couldn't. I couldn't just abandon my child." "But you could abandon me?" The words came out sharp. Finally. Anger breaking through the shock. "I didn't abandon you. I've been here. I've been your husband. You've been her husband too." I gestured toward the yacht where Lindsay was now holding Emma, both of them watching us. "Does she know about me?" Marcus's silence was answer enough. "Oh my God." I started laughing. Couldn't help it. Hysterical, broken laughter. "Oh my God, she doesn't know. You have 2 wives. 2 whole separate lives. Lindsay's not, we're not married. Does she think you are?" His face told me everything. "She thinks you're married to her," I said slowly. "She thinks these business trips you tell me about are you going home to your real life. And I think, what? That you're fishing? It's not like that." "Then what is it like, Marcus? Explain it to me. Because I drove 4 hours to tell you something important, and now I'm standing here watching you play daddy with a child you hid from me for 3 years. What did you come to tell me?" The question stopped me. I looked at him, really looked at him. This man I'd married. This man I trusted with everything. This stranger. I reached into my purse and pulled out the baby shoes. Tiny. White. Still had the tags on. I threw them at him. They hit his chest and fell to the dock between us. Marcus stared at them. I watched understanding cross his face. Watched him go pale. You're... He started. Pregnant. 12 weeks. I found out yesterday. My voice was cold now. Detached. Surprise. I turned and started walking back toward my car. Claire, wait. I didn't wait. Didn't run. Just walked. One foot in front of the other. Steady. Mechanical. Claire, please. We need to talk about this. I reached my car. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped the keys. Twice. Finally got the door open. Marcus was running now. Claire, don't leave like this. Let me explain. I got in the car. Started the engine. Put it in reverse. Through the windshield, I could see Lindsay walking down the dock, Emma on her hip. Coming to see what the commotion was about. Coming to meet the other woman. I couldn't do it. Couldn't face her. Couldn't face any of this. I backed up, turned around, and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw Marcus standing in the parking lot, the baby shoes still clutched in his hand. Lindsay reached him, saying something. Him shaking his head. The little girl looking confused. I made it about 10 minutes before I had to pull over. Then I cried. Sobbed. Screamed into the steering wheel until my throat was raw. When I finally stopped, the sun was setting. My phone showed 17 missed calls from Marcus. Dozens of texts. Claire, please answer. I can explain everything. It's not what you think. I love you. Please come back. We can work this out. That last one almost made me laugh again. Work this out. Like this was a miscommunication. A small mistake. Not a 4-year double life with a secret child. I turned off my phone and drove home in silence. The penthouse felt like a museum when I walked in after midnight. Everything perfect. Everything expensive. Everything meaningless. I went straight to Marcus's home office. The door was always locked, but I knew where he hid the key. Behind a loose piece of crown molding. He'd shown me once, years ago, saying it was just in case of emergency. This qualified. The office was exactly what you'd expect from a billionaire real estate mogul. Mahogany desk. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Abstract art that cost more than most people's houses. I started with the desk drawers. Financial documents. Property deeds. Investment portfolios. Nothing unusual. Then I found the locked drawer at the bottom. It took me 20 minutes to find something to pick it with. Finally, a letter opener did the trick. Inside were 3 passports. The first was Marcus's regular passport. The one I'd seen before. The second was also Marcus's. Different name. Marcus Reynolds instead of Marcus Chen. The third was for Lindsay Reynolds. And a birth certificate for Emma Reynolds. He'd created an entirely fake identity. Legal documents. Everything you'd need to actually be someone else. Underneath the passports was a folder. I opened it with shaking hands. Bank statements. For accounts I'd never seen. Transfers. Huge amounts. Millions being moved monthly from his primary business account into these secret accounts under the Reynolds name. Property deeds for a house in Westchester. A brownstone in Brooklyn. Both under Marcus Reynolds. Insurance policies. Life insurance with Lindsay as the beneficiary. Health insurance for Emma. Credit card statements showing purchases I'd never seen. Children's clothes. Toys. Jewelry. Romantic dinners at restaurants I'd never been to. He'd built an entire second life, complete with documentation, finances, property, everything. This wasn't just an affair. This was systematic, planned, maintained over years. I photographed everything with my phone. Every document, every statement, every piece of evidence. Then I found the laptop hidden in the bottom of the drawer. It wasn't password protected. That surprised me. Then again, he'd hidden it in a locked drawer in a locked office. He thought it was safe. I opened it. The desktop background made me physically sick. A photo of Marcus, Lindsay, and Emma at what looked like a beach house. All of them smiling. Happy. A family portrait. I clicked through folders. Photos. Hundreds of them. Birthday parties for Emma. Holidays. Vacations to places he told me were business trips. Lindsay pregnant. Lindsay in a hospital bed holding a newborn Emma. Marcus kissing her forehead. Videos. Emma's first steps. Her first words. Dada. Of course. Christmas mornings. Beach days. An entire life I knew nothing about. I found a folder labeled legal. Inside were scanned documents. Contracts. Agreements. Including a lease agreement for the Westchester house. Signed 5 years ago. 5 years. That was a year before he even met me. The timeline was starting to make sense. Marcus had been with Lindsay. They'd gotten serious. Rented a house together. Then something happened. They broke up. He met me at that gala. We fell in love fast. Too fast, maybe. Got married within a year. But he never really left Lindsay. Just added me. The email folder was worse. Exchanges between Marcus and Lindsay going back years. Love notes. Plans for Emma's future. Discussions about when he'd tell me. About how to handle the situation. From 3 months ago. Marcus, she wants to try another round of IVF. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. Lindsay, you promised you'd tell her after the last miscarriage. You said once you were sure she couldn't get pregnant, you'd transition fully to our life. Marcus, I know. I'm trying. She's fragile right now. Lindsay, Emma asks about you constantly. She doesn't understand why Daddy's always leaving. Marcus, I'll talk to Claire soon. I promise. This year. Everything will be clear this year. I read that exchange 5 times. Once you were sure she couldn't get pregnant. He'd been waiting for me to be definitively infertile before leaving me. Making sure I couldn't trap him with a pregnancy. And now I was pregnant. The irony was almost funny. Almost. I kept digging. Found more emails. These going back 6 months. Marcus had been planning to file for divorce. Had consulted with lawyers. Had documents drafted. The grounds? Irreconcilable differences. He was going to paint me as unstable. Depressed from the miscarriages. Unable to cope. He'd already gathered evidence, emails I'd sent during dark moments, medical records from therapy I'd attended after the second loss. He was going to destroy me legally, take most of the assets, and walk away clean to his other family. The only thing that had stopped him was timing. His company was going through a major acquisition. A divorce would complicate the optics, the financials. He'd been waiting for the deal to close. That was supposed to happen next month. I sat in his office chair, surrounded by evidence of his double life, and felt something shift inside me. The grief was still there. The betrayal. The absolute shattering of everything I thought my life was. But underneath it, something else was growing. Rage. Cold. Clear. Focused rage. Marcus thought he could manage me. Manipulate me. Wait me out until I was no longer useful or convenient. He'd planned my destruction down to the legal documents. Well, two could play that game. I spent the rest of the night copying everything. Every file from the laptop. Every photo from his phone, which I found charging in his nightstand. Every document from the office. I uploaded it all to a secure cloud account. Emailed copies to myself. Saved everything to 3 separate flash drives. By the time dawn broke, I had evidence of fraud, tax evasion, identity theft, and probably a dozen other crimes Marcus had committed to maintain his double life. I also called Sarah. Claire? Jesus, it's 5 in the morning. Are you okay? I need a lawyer, I said. My voice was steady now. Clear. The best divorce lawyer you know. Someone who destroys people for a living. What happened? Did Marcus? He has another family. A girlfriend and a 3-year-old daughter. He's been living a double life for 4 years. And Sarah? I found evidence he was planning to divorce me anyway. He was just waiting for the right time to screw me over completely. Silence. Then, holy shit. Can you help me? I'll make some calls. Give me an hour. Thank you. Claire? Are you going to be okay? I looked around Marcus's office. At his desk where he'd planned my destruction. At his locked drawer where he'd hidden his other life. At his laptop showing photos of the family he'd chosen over me. I'm going to be better than okay, I said. I'm going to burn his entire world down. Sarah came through. Within 3 hours, I was sitting in the downtown office of Diana Volkov, a divorce attorney with a reputation for eviscerating unfaithful spouses. She was in her 50s, sharp-eyed, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my car. Her office was all glass and steel, cold and efficient. Tell me everything, she said. So I did. When I finished, Diana was smiling. Not a warm smile. A predator's smile. This is better than I expected, she said. Your husband isn't just having an affair. He's committed multiple felonies. Identity fraud. Tax evasion. I guarantee he hasn't been reporting the income going to these secret accounts. Possibly bigamy if he's represented himself as married to both of you. Can we use that? We're going to use everything. She pulled out a legal pad. Here's what's going to happen. First, we document everything you found. We'll bring in a forensic accountant to trace all the money. Every dollar he's hidden, every asset in the fake name, all of it. How long will that take? A few weeks. Maybe a month. In the meantime, you act completely normal. I blinked. Normal? Yes. Your husband doesn't know what you found yet, right? Just that you caught him with Lindsay and Emma? Right. Good. So you let him think that's all you know. You let him try to explain it away, minimize it, convince you to forgive him. Men like Marcus Chen always think they can talk their way out of everything. You want me to pretend to forgive him? I want you to pretend to consider it. String him along. Keep him comfortable while we build the case. The moment he knows you have all this evidence, he'll start hiding more assets, destroying documents, covering his tracks. Diana leaned forward. You want to destroy him? We need him to think he's safe. Then we hit him with everything at once. By the time he realizes what's happening, it'll be too late. What about the pregnancy? I asked quietly. I'm 12 weeks. Diana's expression softened slightly. That's your decision. I can't tell you what to do there. But legally, it complicates things. A pregnancy makes you more sympathetic to a judge. It also makes you vulnerable to Marcus's manipulation. He'll try to use the baby to control me. Without question. Expect him to suddenly become the devoted husband. Expect promises to leave Lindsay. Expect him to use your pregnancy as leverage to keep you quiet. I thought about that. Thought about Marcus holding Emma. Calling her his daughter. Being present for her in ways he'd never been for me. I'm not keeping it, I said suddenly. The words surprised me. But the moment I said them, I knew they were true. Sarah, who'd been sitting quietly through the meeting, grabbed my hand. Claire. I can't bring a child into this, I said. I can't be tied to him for 18 years. I can't. I won't do it. Diana nodded once. Professional. Non-judgmental. That's your right. When? As soon as possible. I'll give you some referrals. Doctors who are discreet. She made a note. Here's what I suggest. Don't tell Marcus about the termination. Let him think you're still pregnant. That gives us more leverage initially. Then, after we file, you tell him you lost the baby due to stress from his betrayal. It was cold. Calculated. Exactly the kind of thinking Marcus had used against me. I liked it. Okay, I said. What else? We spent the next 2 hours planning strategy. Diana explained how we'd freeze Marcus's assets, how we'd expose the fraud, how we'd use the secret life as leverage. In cases like this, she said, we typically see settlements in the 60 to 70% range for the wrong spouse. Given the length of the deception, the second family, the fraud, we can push for 75%. Maybe more. How much is he worth? According to public records, his company is valued at $2.3 billion. His personal net worth is probably around $800 million, though that's a conservative estimate. If we find more hidden assets, it could be higher. $800 million. Even 50% would be more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. I want all of it, I said. Diana raised an eyebrow. All? He was planning to destroy me. To paint me as unstable and take everything while he walked away to his other family. So yes. I want all of it. Every dollar. Every property. Everything. That's ambitious. And probably impossible. But I like your spirit. Diana smiled. Let's start with 75% and see how scared we can make him. The procedure happened 3 days later. Quick. Clinical. Over before I had time to fully process what I was doing. Sarah held my hand the whole time. Drove me home. Stayed with me while I cried. Are you sure about this? She asked gently as we sat on my couch. No, I said honestly. But I'm sure about not being tied to Marcus forever. That's enough. My phone had been ringing constantly since the marina. Marcus called dozens of times a day. Sent walls of text messages. He'd even shown up at the penthouse twice, but I hadn't let him in. Diana said it was time. He needs to think you're softening, she'd explained. Answer his calls. Let him come home. Act devastated but willing to listen. So that evening, when Marcus called for the 100th time, I answered. Claire. Thank God. His voice cracked. Please, let me come home. Let me explain. I don't know if I can hear this, I said, making my voice small. Broken. I know. I know I don't deserve it. But Claire, I love you. Whatever you think, that's real. You're my wife. And Lindsay thinks she is too, I thought but didn't say. Come home, I said instead. We need to talk. He arrived within an hour. Marcus looked terrible. Unshaven. Exhausted. His shirt was wrinkled, his hair unwashed. Good. Suffering looked good on him. Claire. He moved to hug me. I stepped back. Don't. Right. Of course. I'm sorry. He ran his hand through his hair. Can we sit? We sat in the living room. The space between us on the couch felt like an ocean. Explain, I said. All of it. So he did. The story came out in pieces. Him meeting Lindsay at a tech conference 6 years ago. Falling in love. Moving in together. Then his company started taking off. The money, the pressure, the expectations. My board wanted me to have a certain image, Marcus said. Young, successful, stable. Lindsay was great, but she was an elementary school teacher. Not exactly the profile they wanted for the CEO's wife. So you traded her in for me? My voice was ice. No. That's not. He stopped. Started again. We broke up. Mutually. The relationship wasn't working with my schedule. Then I met you at that charity gala and you were perfect. Smart, elegant, successful in your own right. Everyone loved you. So I was the trophy wife. You were my wife. My real wife. I loved you. I love you. While sleeping with Lindsay. He had the decency to look ashamed. We reconnected about 6 months after you and I got married. She reached out about some paperwork from the old house. We met for coffee. One thing led to another. One thing led to a 4-year affair and a secret child. I never meant for Emma to happen, Marcus said quietly. Lindsay said she was on birth control. When she got pregnant, I panicked. I offered to pay for, but she wanted to keep it. And once Emma was born, I couldn't just walk away. But you could walk away from me every month to play daddy with them. I tried to balance both. I know that sounds impossible, but I tried. I loved you both. There it was. The key phrase. I loved you both. As if love was the excuse. As if emotion somehow justified 4 years of systematic lying. Does Lindsay know about me? I asked. Marcus hesitated. She knows I'm married. Does she know to who? Does she know your real name? Your real life? She knows me as Marcus Reynolds. I told her the Chin name was a business alias for international dealings. So she doesn't know. She knows enough. I laughed. Bitter. You've lied to both of us. Built entire fake identities. We're both just characters in your elaborate fiction. That's not fair. None of this is fair. I stood up, pacing. I've been trying to get pregnant for 3 years. Going through treatments, dealing with miscarriages, blaming myself. And you've had a daughter this whole time. I'm sorry. Marcus's voice broke. Claire, I'm so sorry. Are there others? I asked suddenly. Other women? Other families I don't know about? No. God, no. Just Lindsay. I didn't believe him. But I filed that away for Diana to investigate. What about the baby? Marcus asked carefully. Our baby. You said you're pregnant. I'd been waiting for this. Turned to face him. Let tears fill my eyes. Real ones, actually. Easy to summon. I lost it, I whispered. 3 days ago. The stress, the shock of finding out about Emma. I started bleeding. The doctor said. I trailed off. Buried my face in my hands. Marcus was next to me in an instant. Arms around me. Making soothing sounds. I'm so sorry, he murmured. Claire, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. Yes, I thought. It is. But out loud I just cried. Let him hold me. Played the devastated wife. We can try again, Marcus said. Once we work through this. We can try again. How? I pulled back to look at him. How do we work through this? You have a daughter. You have Lindsay. You have an entire other life. I'll end it with Lindsay. I'll tell her everything. I'll be honest finally. What about Emma? Marcus's face crumbled. I don't know. She's my daughter. I can't just abandon her. So you'll see her. Pay child support. Be part of her life. Yes. Which means Lindsay will always be in your life. As Emma's mother. That's all. I shook my head. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can spend the rest of my life watching you be a father to her child while I couldn't finish. Let him fill in the blanks. Please, Marcus grabbed my hands. Please don't give up on us. I love you. I made terrible mistakes, but I love you. We can get through this. I looked at him. This man I'd married. This stranger who'd been lying to me for years. I need time, I said finally. I need space to think. Okay. Whatever you need. I'm going to stay with Sarah for a while. You can stay here. Relief flooded his face. He'd expected me to kick him out, clearly. Thank you. Claire, thank you. We'll figure this out. I promise. I packed a bag that night. As I was leaving, Marcus stopped me at the door. Claire? The baby. Are you okay? Physically? Such concern. Such caring. The devoted husband. I will be, I said. What I didn't say, once I destroy you, I'll be perfect. The next 4 weeks were a masterclass in deception. I stayed with Sarah but talked to Marcus daily. Let him grovel. Let him send flowers, gifts, love letters. Let him think he was winning me back. Meanwhile, Diana's team was tearing apart his entire financial life. The forensic accountant, a severe woman named Patricia, found accounts Marcus didn't even remember opening. Properties in tax havens. Shell corporations in 3 countries. Money hidden so well even he'd probably lost track of some of it. Your husband is paranoid, Patricia reported during one of our meetings. He's been squirreling away money since long before he met you. I'm guessing he grew up poor? His parents were immigrants, I said. Struggled a lot. He was the first in his family to go to college. That tracks. He has a scarcity mindset with wealth. Hoarding it. Hiding it. Making sure no one can take it. She smiled grimly. Except we can. And we will. The total came to just over $1 billion once everything was uncovered. Marcus had been underreporting his wealth by almost 30%. That's going to bite him, Diana said with satisfaction. The IRS is going to have questions. We also hired a private investigator to look into Lindsay's situation. What we found was almost sad. She thought she was married to Marcus Reynolds, a business consultant who traveled frequently for work. She'd met his mother once, turned out to be an actress Marcus had hired. She'd met his business partner, another actor. She'd been to his office, a rented executive suite he kept for exactly this purpose. Marcus had built an entire false identity, complete with fake family and fake career, just to maintain the lie. The investigator also found evidence that Lindsay was not, in fact, the only other woman. There were at least 2 more. Neither with children, thankfully. But both being supported financially. Both thinking they were in exclusive relationships with Marcus. He wasn't just a cheater. He was running an entire operation. When Diana showed me the evidence, I felt almost nothing. Just cold satisfaction. This makes our case airtight, she said. Pattern of deception. Multiple victims. Financial fraud. We're going to eviscerate him. When? I asked. Next week. I'll file the papers Monday morning. He'll be served at his office. By the time he knows what's happening, we'll have already frozen his accounts and placed liens on his properties. What about criminal charges? The fraud, the tax evasion? I've already reached out to federal prosecutors. They're interested. Very interested. Your husband is looking at potential prison time. Prison. Marcus in prison. I should have felt something. Guilt maybe. Regret. Something. I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. The weekend before we filed, Marcus asked me to dinner. A real date, he said over the phone. Like we used to do. Please, Claire. I want to show you I'm serious about fixing this. Diana had advised one final meeting. Let him think he's won. Let him relax. Then we strike. So I agreed. Marcus took me to Ventanas, the restaurant where he'd proposed. Expensive, elegant, our table overlooking the water. Romantic. Calculated. He dressed up. New suit. Fresh haircut. Flowers waiting at the table. You look beautiful, he said as I sat down. Thank you. Please, we can work this out. This is insane. You're taking everything. What about our life together? You're being vindictive. I thought you loved me. That last one almost made me laugh. Wednesday, Diana called with news. The prosecutor's office is moving forward with charges. Tax evasion. Identity fraud. They're building a case. Your husband is going to be arrested within the month. Good. Claire, I need to warn you. This is going to be very public. His company, his reputation, all of it will be destroyed. The media is going to be all over this. I know. And you're okay with that? I thought about the laptop photos. Emma's first steps. Lindsay pregnant. Years of lies. The plan to divorce me and take everything. I'm more than okay with it. The arrest happened 2 weeks later. Marcus was taken from his office in handcuffs. The media was there. Cameras everywhere. His face on every news channel. Billionaire CEO arrested for massive fraud. Real estate mogul's secret double life exposed. Marcus Chen, from penthouse to prison? The story had everything. Money, sex, deception. The media devoured it. Lindsay's interview made national news. She cried on camera, showing photos of Emma, talking about the man she thought she'd married. The man who'd never existed. Public opinion turned on Marcus immediately. His company's stock plummeted. The board forced him to resign. Partners distanced themselves. Everything he'd built. Everything he'd worked for. Crumbling. And I watched it all from Sarah's apartment, feeling absolutely nothing but cold satisfaction. The divorce trial took 6 months. Marcus fought everything. Contested every asset. Claimed emotional duress. Tried to paint me as vindictive and cruel. His lawyers argued I was taking advantage of his mental health crisis. That I was weaponizing his mistakes. Diana destroyed them. She presented the laptop. The photos. The emails planning to divorce me. The evidence of not just Lindsay but 2 other women. The pattern of systematic deception going back years. She brought in a forensic psychologist who testified that Marcus showed clear signs of narcissistic personality disorder. That he deliberately manipulated multiple women. That his behavior wasn't a mental health crisis but a calculated pattern. She presented financial records showing how he'd been hiding money since before he met me. How he'd planned to leave me with nothing while he kept everything. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, was not sympathetic. Mr. Chen, she said during the final hearing. You have presented yourself as a victim of circumstances. But the evidence shows you are the architect of an elaborate, multi-year fraud that victimized not only your wife but multiple other women, your business partners, and the IRS. Marcus stood there, pale, as she continued. You deliberately hid assets. You created false identities. You systematically deceived everyone in your life for personal gain. This was not a mistake. This was not a mental health crisis. This was calculated, deliberate, and cruel. She ruled in my favor. On everything. I got 85% of all marital assets. The penthouse. The vacation homes. Stock options. Everything. Marcus was left with 15% and millions in legal fees, criminal penalties, and back taxes. His estimated net worth after everything, maybe $50 million. From nearly $1 billion. As we left the courthouse, Marcus tried one last time. Claire. Please. This is too much. You're destroying me. I stopped. Looked at him. Really looked at him for the first time in months. You destroyed yourself, I said quietly. I just made sure everyone could see it. Then I walked away. I'm standing in the Paris apartment I bought with the settlement money. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Seine. Everything light and airy and mine. Sarah is visiting. We're having coffee on the balcony, watching the city wake up. Have you heard anything about Marcus? She asks carefully. He was sentenced to 4 years for the fraud and tax evasion. He's been in minimum security for about 6 months now. How do you feel about that? I think about it. Really think. I don't feel anything, I say honestly. He's just someone I used to know. Someone who taught me an important lesson. Which is that the only person you can really trust is yourself. My phone buzzes. A message from my new design firm. I'd started it with part of the settlement money. High-end interior design for luxury properties. It's been doing well. Another message. From a man I've been seeing. Andre. A French architect I met at a gallery opening. Nothing serious yet. But something light. Easy. Honest. You seem happy, Sarah observes. I am. And I mean it. The woman who drove to that marina with champagne and baby shoes feels like someone from another lifetime. She was naive. Trusting. Willing to ignore red flags because she wanted to believe in love. I'm not that woman anymore. I'm harder now. More cautious. I trust less easily. Love less freely. But I'm also freer. Wealthier. More myself than I've ever been. Marcus took a lot from me. Years. Trust. The ability to believe in love without questioning it. But in destroying my marriage, he also freed me. From his control. His lies. His manipulation. And in the end, I walked away with nearly $1 billion and the knowledge that I could survive anything. Some people might say I was vindictive. That I took too much. That I destroyed a man who just made mistakes. Those people can go to hell. Marcus Chin built an empire on lies. I just made sure it fell on him instead of me. And you know what? I sleep perfectly fine at night. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever felt betrayed or underestimated, if you believe in accountability over forgiveness, hit that subscribe button. Because trust me, we're just getting started. Drop a comment telling me, would you have done the same thing? Or would you have walked away with nothing and called it taking the high road? And smash that like button if you believe that sometimes the best revenge is just making sure the truth comes out. New videos every week. Real stories. Real consequences. Real justice. Subscribe now. Because the next story might be even more shocking than this one.